The way most websites are built is completely backwards. And I don't mean that as a specific criticism of any specific person or any agency. It's just how the industry has worked for such a long time. Traditionally, you get a brief, you open a template, you start making decisions about how it's going to look. And then somewhere along the way, you figure out what it's actually supposed to do and who it's meant to speak to. That process I just described produces sites that look fine, but perform terribly. So in this video, I want to walk you through what the new way of web design actually looks like, step by step, from the very beginning of a project through to the launch and beyond. Whether you're building something yourself, working with a designer, or trying to figure out why your current site isn't doing what you need it to do, this is the process that actually works in 2026. Step 1, and this is where almost every bad website goes wrong, is strategy. Before you touch design, before you think about colors or fonts or layout, you need to answer some basic questions about who the site is actually for. Who's landing on it, and what do they already know when they arrive? What do you want them to do when they get there? And what do they need to understand before they'll actually be willing to do it? Those 3 things determine the entire site structure. They tell you what pages you need, what order information should go in, and what the hierarchy of every single page should look like. If you skip this, then you're making design decisions based on pure guesswork, which never ends well. And unfortunately, that's what most sites are. Expensive, sometimes really expensive guesswork. So when we start a project, this is the first conversation that we have with every client. Not what do you want it to look like? It's what does success look like? Who are we trying to reach? And what do they need to know before they pick up the phone or fill in a form? If you're doing this yourself, then sit down and write it out before you do any design work. And in one sentence, answer this question. What is the one thing that you want a visitor to do when they land on the site? Everything else needs to be built around that one central thing. So once you know the strategy, the next step is to map out the structure before you start going, crazy with design. Start with a sitemap. A sitemap is basically just a map of every page on your site and then how they interconnect. And I know it sounds simple, but most people skip this entirely. They just start building and then they add pages as they think of them. So as a result, they get a site that doesn't have a clear journey through it, and it becomes a tangled piecemeal mess that they struggle to maintain over time. Visitors, they'll land somewhere, click around a bit, and then they just leave without doing anything. And it's really frustrating because it's not that they weren't interested in what you sell, or what you do, but it's because they were never actually guided down any specific path. Your sitemap should reflect the decisions you made in step 1. If the goal is to get people to book a call, then every page should have a path that leads there. If you've got multiple audiences, say residential clients and commercial clients, then your structure needs to account for that and route people to what's actually relevant to them. And after the sitemap, we've got wireframes. A wireframe is just a rough layout of each page. There's no colors yet, no real copy. A wireframe is literally just boxes showing where things should go and in what order. But it's important because during wireframing is where you're going to figure out your website's hierarchy. What does the eye land on first? What's the primary message? What's secondary? What comes after that? And so on. Getting this right before you add any visual design is genuinely the most valuable thing that you can do when you're building your website. If you're a designer yourself, it's also where client feedback is easiest to incorporate. It's much less painful to move boxes around in a wireframe than to redesign a full page, that's already been built and styled. We use Figma for this stage, and we share wireframes with clients before we touch the build at all. Now, once the structure's locked in, that's when the design part actually starts. But this is also where it's really, really easy to go wrong in a different way. See, design is where a lot of websites get derailed by the wrong priorities. Designers and clients alike want the site to look impressive, which is completely understandable. Obviously, so do we when we build our clients' sites. But the question you have to ask is, who do you want the site to look impressive to? See, the goal of design is to serve the visitor. You want to make information easy to find, easy to understand, and then easy to act on. Visual impact matters, but it should come from a place of clarity first and foremost, not for throwing everything at the page and just hoping something will stick. So that begs the question, what is the new way of design? Here are a few things that actually move the needle. For one, typography. Fonts have more impact on how a site feels than almost anything else, and it's an area that most sites make no real effort. I've had clients come to us and they have no actual idea what their font family is, and we kind of need to flip this thinking on its head. because font choices can make or break a design. Not only can the right font choice make copy way more legible, but it makes the entire site feel like a whole lot more consideration went into it. Secondly, color. A tight, intentional palette, usually 2 or 3 main colors used with discipline, with little, splash or 2 for highlights, buttons, stuff like that. It does far more than a huge palette that's used, inconsistently. Every color should have a job. Third, we've got white space. Our natural instinct is to fill every single gap. And what's worse is that your own design usually looks great to you, but it doesn't to others. And that's who design is actually for. So the instinct that you must follow is to let things breathe. White space isn't wasted space. It's what makes everything else feel intentional. And then fourth, we've got the CTA, which is your call to action. Have one primary CTA repeated throughout the page, always going to the same place. Not 3 different buttons sending people in 3 different directions. For example, when we did a rebuild for our client, Renew Energy, the old version had a genuinely strong offer, but it was buried under a ton of visual noise. It had auto-playing slideshows, parallax effects, and a color palette that wasn't doing anything for them. The new design that we settled on, it stripped everything back. We led with strong photography, clean hierarchy, and then the value proposition was visible within the first scroll. Same company, same offer, but a completely different feeling. By the way, if you want to see what all of this looks like when it comes together, I've put together a full portfolio of sites that we've built over at bycrawford.com. The link's in the description. Everything from startups to Fortune 500 clients. And if you're thinking that you'd rather have someone handle this for you, there's a link to book a call there too. Right, back to it. Step 4 is something that almost nobody talks about at the design stage, but it massively affects what happens to the site after it launches. So at some point, whoever owns the website is going to need to update it. Odds are you'll eventually want to add a new service or add a new case study, or maybe want to tweak some copy. And the problem is, if the site hasn't been fully built with that in mind, then every single one of those updates becomes a problem. A phone call to an agency, a support ticket, a wait, and then probably a painful invoice to get things done. So the better approach and the new way of doing web design this year is to build the site so that the person who owns it can actually manage it themselves. That means choosing a platform that they can get comfortable with. And it also means building in a way that's logical and editable, not in a way that's clever and totally gate-kept from the site owner. And it means handing it over with proper training, not just a link to a help article, but actually walking through the site with the client and showing them how everything works. For example, we actually do a full handover session on every single project that we do. And then for the first 30 days after launch, we're available for free email support, because the questions always come after launch, not before. For anyone building their own site, think about this really early. Pick a platform that you're going to be able to use long term without needing to hire someone every single time something needs changing. A site that you can manage yourself will always outperform the one that you can't, because it stays current. And if you're looking to hire, make sure that the agency you go with is going to be there to help. Now, last step, and this is the mindset shift that I think makes the biggest difference to whether a website actually does anything for a business. For most website projects, the launch day of the site is the end of the project. The site goes live, everyone's happy, and then it basically gets left alone until someone decides, it needs a redesign in 3 years. That approach produces sites that look fine on day one, obviously, but these websites, they gradually stop working over time. So the better way to think about it is that the launch is only the beginning of the site doing its job, which means a few things need to be in place before you go live. SEO has to be built in from the start, not added in later. The way pages are structured, the way copy is written, the way the sitemap is organized, all of this affects whether search engines can make sense of the site and whether it starts appearing for the right terms. Trying to retrofit SEO onto a site that wasn't built with it in mind is painful and usually only partially effective. Analytics need to be set up so you actually know what's happening. Where are visitors coming from? What pages are they spending time on? Where are they dropping off before they get to your contact form? Without that data, you're flying blind, so sort that on day one. And then the contact flow, it needs to actually work and work for different types of people. Some visitors want to fill in a form, some want a call, some just want an email address. Give people options, because the ones that won't fill in a form will just leave if that's the only option that you've given them. When we handed over the finished site that we created for Renew Energy, This was all in place before the site went live. The site was SEO ready, the analytics were all set up and connected, and their contact page was ready to go with multiple ways to contact them. That's what it looks like when a website is set up to actually perform. And that is a new way of web design. If you follow those 5 steps, or if you're working with someone who does, you'll end up with a site that works as hard as it possibly can. And if you want to see this in practice, head over to bycrawford.com and take a look at our portfolio. Or if you want to talk through your site specifically and apply these steps to build your own company's page, then book a call. The link's in the description. If you want to see how this new way actually plays out, click here to watch the full before and after of the website rebuild we did for the client that I've mentioned in this video, Renew Energy. So you can see exactly how all of this plays out in a real project.